February 11, 1780. After a harrowing journey on the frigid, windswept seas of the Atlantic, British General Henry Clinton and his force of nearly 9,000 soldiers finally reached their destination, landing 20 miles south of Charleston. The army now unloads and begins its northward march. On February 16th, the British crossed the Stono River, taking control of James Island, which sits right across the harbor from Charleston. Then, finally, at the end of March, crossed the Ashley River in force. The British Southern campaign is underway, and the city of Charleston is in their sights. The British Army has set out on a new course in the War for Independence, taking the fight to the southern colonies of America. Now, 8,700 soldiers, roughly one-third of the British Army in America, have come ashore in South Carolina, and under the command of General Henry Clinton have begun their push to close in on their goal, Charleston. At his headquarters within the city, General Benjamin Lincoln readies himself for the British assault. There is no sign of the 3,000 soldiers promised by Congress a month earlier, and his army is severely outnumbered. So the general prepares for his defense the only way he knows how. Lincoln rolls up his sleeves and grabs a shovel. The Massachusetts farmer throws his back into his command, working day and night right beside his men. The Americans build earthen walls, lay trenches, and create as many obstacles as possible, all designed to slow the progress of the British Army. But Lincoln knows that unless there are reinforcements, the outcome of this fight is inevitable. With the soldiers' resolve, Lincoln writes once again to his commander-in-chief, George Washington. The siege of Charleston enters its 5th day, and the methodical work of the British assault continues. Nights are spent digging trenches, and by sunrise, each side wakes up just a little bit closer to the other. From his barracks in Charleston, an anonymous American soldier is just beginning to feel the effects of the attack and charts the British progress.
Last night, the enemy continued their approaches. They erected a battery for 12 cannon. The batteries have thrown several shots into town, by which one of the inhabitants in King Street was killed.
Day 7. From the north comes the news American General Benjamin Lincoln has been waiting for. Relief is on the way. The Continental soldiers promised by Congress have arrived and are making their way into the city. Marching double time, they have made the 505-mile journey from Virginia in just 30 days. Charleston citizens greet the soldiers with cheers and the hourly pealing of bells. The celebration on the streets of Charleston stands in stark contrast to the somber mood of Benjamin Lincoln's headquarters. Rather than the 3,000 soldiers promised, the Virginians number just 750. These numbers fall far too short. Bearing down on the city are 10,000 British redcoats. Day 8. The British take their aim on Charleston Harbor as a group of warships runs the narrow channel under cannon fire from Fort Moultrie, the American outpost protecting the inlet. A Hessian soldier fighting on the British side witnesses the scene from the shore.
The fort was veiled in fire and smoke, and the roar of 43 heavy guns resembled a terrible thunderstorm. Despite all dangers threatening the fleet, it sailed quite slowly past the fort with colors flying proudly. Captain Johann Ewald.
With his fleet now safely in Charleston Harbor, Henry Clinton's forces encircle nearly all of the city. Day 14. The British parallels continue creeping closer and closer to Charleston. Shelling fills the days as hot lead rains on the town. April 1780. The siege of Charleston, South Carolina enters its third week, with the British painstakingly inching their way towards the city's continental defenses. With the last road out now shut down, British General Clinton begins tightening his noose around the city's very neck. Day 18. Behind the defensive line, there is the terrifying and constant barrage of cannon fire. For an anonymous Continental soldier, the strain of the siege is beginning to show.
The enemy continued firing from their cannon, mortars, and small arms. A sentinel near the advanced redoubt had his arm shut off by one of our own cannon. The enemy continued to approach. And we hear that our cavalry have been defeated and that we lost between 20 and 30 killed and wounded among them.
It's hard for us today to imagine what it's like to be inside a city that's being besieged. What's going to happen when the enemy gets in here?
Day 21. In the American headquarters, General Benjamin Lincoln finds himself in the middle of an angry debate. Some of his officers want to take a desperate action, a dangerous water retreat under cover of night.
It was heated, a very heated confrontation.
But with the British fleet sitting just off the city, moving his force across a river would be suicide. Day 30. The British parallels have closed to within 500 feet of the earthen defenses protecting Charleston. At this distance, cannon can be fired with accuracy into the city. But even at this close range, the British are still looking for some sign of the effect of their barrage, some intelligence on the mood of their enemy. Clinton's men intercept a letter from an American militiaman to his wife. It confirms the state of mind in the besieged city.
Our affairs are daily declining. Nothing prevents Lincoln's surrender but a point of honor in holding out to the last extremity. This is nearly at hand, as our provisions will soon fail. The enemy have continued their approaches with vigor, and in a short time will plant the British standard on our ramparts. This will give a rude shock to the independence of America. The 13 stripes will be leveled in the dust, and I will owe my life to the clemency of a conqueror, Benjamin Smith.
Clinton publishes the letter for all his men to see and increases the cannon barrage. Day 38. In the American headquarters, Benjamin Lincoln is trying to salvage his defense, to hold out in hope of additional reinforcement or come up with some plan that might turn the course of the siege. Now, devastating news arrives from his lines. The South Carolinian militia has abandoned their posts within the city. And now the citizens of Charleston are saying that they have had enough. Major General Benjamin Lincoln, commander of the Southern Department of the Continental Army, has run out of options. The siege of Charleston has ground on for more than a month, and the British rain a constant barrage of cannon and mortar fire down upon the town. With Charleston completely surrounded, it is only a matter of time before British forces breach the defenses of the city and are able to overrun the town. Now General Clinton prepares a final offer for the Americans: complete and total surrender. Day 41. The terms of surrender reach General Benjamin Lincoln's desk, and he now faces the reality of his situation. The time has come to give up the fight, to yield his post. The British cannon finally falls silent. May 12, 1780. Surrender. America's Southern Army strikes the flag of its new nation and lays down its weapons. The entire Charleston garrison, more than 5,000 Continental soldiers and militia, are now prisoners to the British. It is the heaviest loss the Americans have suffered in the Revolution. General Benjamin Lincoln's war is over for now. He returns in defeat to his Massachusetts farm as a prisoner of the British on parole. Charleston, the jewel of the South, belongs to the King.